using campus technology to your advantage. So I'm going to cover one aspect of technology, and Nathan's going to cover a few more. But we're going to get started here in just a minute. I'm just going to transition over to the next slide. And like with a lot of the presentations that we do at Wayne State, we want to start with a land acknowledgement. So we're going to start by saying that Wayne State University rests on the Wawatananong land, also referred to as Detroit, the ancestral and contemporary homeland of the Three Fires Confederacy. These sovereign lands were granted by the Ojibwe, Odawa, Potawatomi, and Wyandot nations in 1807 through the Treaty of Detroit. Wayne State University affirms Indigenous sovereignty and honors all tribes with a connection to Detroit. With our Native neighbors, WSU can advance educational equity and promote a better future for the earth and all people. So I'd also like to say a couple other things really quickly, that this session is being recorded and it will be available for playback on the O2 website. So if there are any sessions that you were not able to get to today between the two sessions that we offered, you should be able to find a recording of them and be able to view any number of them over the next few days. So just give it another day or so for them to be able to upload everything, and you should be able to get access to all the recordings. Your microphones are muted, but we would encourage you to put any and all questions that you have into the chat. We'll be monitoring the chat and we'll be able to answer your questions that way. Closed captions is available. You will see the closed captioning link at the bottom of the menu bar, and if you click that, you'll be able to get closed captioning. And please make sure that you click the link in the chat, and that will allow you to be, your attendance to be recorded for today. So you will see a fairly long link there. If you could just click it, and that's all you need to do to get your attendance recorded. All right, so let's move on. I'm actually going to leave this, and I'm going to start by talking a little bit about the platform that I'm going to be covering today, which is AdvisingWorks. So AdvisingWorks is a couple things. It is our student record keeping platform. So when you meet with your academic advisor and they want to look back at your previous courses that you registered for and your grades, and they want to look back at any notes that were taken on past advising appointments, they want to see what who your professors are, they're going to look into a platform called AdvisingWorks. So they are also able to send you messages through AdvisingWorks. So you might get emails from your advisor through AdvisingWorks. So that is our student record keeping platform and our student communication platform. But it is also our appointment platform. So you as a student have access to AdvisingWorks, and that's where you will go to make an appointment with your assigned advisor or with some supplemental advisors at Wayne State. So I want to make sure that you're aware of all the different ways that you can schedule an advising appointment to meet with an advisor. So how do you get onto the AdvisingWorks platform? So you should be seeing a slide here that has a snapshot of Academica and of the student records tab in Academica. So under your student records tab, you see there's a long list of things that you can click onto to get to different platforms. And the top one is AdvisingWorks. So that is where you will find the AdvisingWorks platform to schedule an appointment with an advisor. All right, so from here, I am going to go to the AdvisingWorks platform, and it's hiding here. All right, so right now I am on a student view of AdvisingWorks. This is my student assistant, and this is what you will see when you go into advisingworks.wayne.edu. You will be logging in with your Wayne State credentials. So what that means is, and Nathan's going to talk about this in a little bit, that is your Wayne State access ID and your Wayne State password. So whenever you log on to different platforms, and when you register, when you go to your email, you will use your Wayne State credentials. And this is the same thing. You will use your Wayne State access ID and your password to get into the AdvisingWorks platform. And once you're here, I want to take you through a couple things that you're going to see. So this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to draw your attention to the upper right here where it says Fall 2020. This is the default term that we're in right now, Fall 2020. And that's going to drive this box right here, classes this term. And so what you see here, this is my student assistant who's a biology major. This is Mason's schedule for the fall term. He's in genetics, he's in Gen Chem 1, he's in speech, and he's in public health. And so you can see the courses he's in, the sections that he's in. You can see the list of his professors here. And then under days and times, this is interesting because this is where you will see the days of the week and the times of the classes. And so when you see his genetics class that meets Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2:30, but it says arranged, that tells me that this is an online class. It's synchronous. It meets at specific days and times during the week. So he has to be available to go on to a Zoom lecture on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2:30 with his professor and his classmates. Same with his chemistry class. It is synchronous because it has a day and a time, but no building or room number. So it's synchronous online. If you look at his chemistry lab, however, it gives a day and a time, and it also gives Science Hall room 1040. It gives a room number. So this tells me that it is an in-person lab that he will go on campus for. Under his speech class, his comm class, and his public health, there's no information. So this tells me that this is a fully online asynchronous class that he takes completely on Canvas and has no set meeting days or times. And all of this can be confirmed in other ways through your class schedule, but I just wanted to explain how it looks in AdvisingWorks. I want to draw your attention to this box over here. This is Mason's success team, and you will also have a success team. And in this success team box, you will have all of your professors for your fall 20 classes will automatically be housed in here, and also your academic advisor. So Mason's a bio major. His advisor is Antoinette Cunningham from the bio department, and she's listed here. And there is a link to her email. If you want to email through the AdvisingWorks platform, it will go to her Outlook inbox. Some of you may be in a college or a program that has other advisors as well. For instance, you might also be assigned an athletic advisor. You might have a coach. You might have an athletic coach if you're on an athletic team. You might have an academic success coach if you're in the College of Education or Fine Performing and Communication Arts. There are multiple programs that assign multiple different supplemental advisors and coaches to the success team. So you might have multiple people in this area, but you will always have your primary academic advisor in this box here as well. I also want to point out that currently Mason has an advising appointment scheduled coming up with the pre-med advisor, Laura Hetzler, on September 9th at 3 p.m. I don't know if you can see that little bit of detail, but I'm gonna show you how you can schedule other appointments in the AdvisingWorks platform. So this is the next thing that I want to draw your attention to. This is the box, the button that says make a virtual appointment. This is how you will go in and actually schedule your advising appointment. So this is an important place to get started. I'm gonna click in here and I will start the process to make an advising appointment. The first thing it's gonna ask you is what kind of appointment are you looking for? And of course, unless you want to go the tutoring pathway, you're gonna go into advising, academic advising. And then it's gonna ask you the kind of advising appointment that you want. And the very first thing to make it easy is to make an appointment with my assigned advisor. So if you know that you want an appointment with your assigned advisor, you just click that. And then it's going to ask you this next set of questions, which is tell me which of these 6 things do you want to do with your assigned advisor? Is this an initial appointment? Is this to make a schedule, a plan for the future? If you want to schedule, you know, talk about this fall term and maybe the next couple terms, you can click in here. SAP appeal, probation are some specialized advising appointments. Graduation audit, you might not need this for a few terms, and other needs. So it doesn't matter which one of these you pick, you will still get to your advisor's schedule. So it just helps her know why you're coming in. And usually there's only one appointment or one location for every advisor. This is going to give her campus location, but all advising for the fall is taking place virtual. There's no in-person advising this fall. So even though it gives you an address, just know that it will be a virtual appointment. And because I'm making it with my one assigned advisor, you don't have to worry about this box as far as staff member. Nothing's going to come up because it's just Antoinette's appointments. I already know Antoinette is booked, so we're not going to find an appointment coming up for a while, but this is where you would go to schedule with Antoinette. I also want to draw your attention to, to this yellow box here. This is where you would be able to see if your advisor has any drop-in advising time. And some schools and colleges have regular drop-in advisings that you can attend. So I just want you to know that that is something that you should click just to see if there are any options there. Another thing you can do, I'm going to go back a couple screens, is let's say your main advisor is booked, but you don't care which bio advisor you meet with. It could be any of them. So this is where you can click make an appointment with any advisor in my declared major. And then you would go ahead and you would type biology. And whoops, I got chemistry there. You would type biology, and then this will take you again to the location, but then it will give you multiple advising schedules that you can go to. My advice is that you do not select any particular advisor. If you leave it blank, you will get to all 4 of their appointment schedules, and you will get the most choice as far as when you can come in. I do know that all of the bio advisors are booked at this point. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to show you any appointments coming up for a while. But again, you can also click to see if any of them are doing drop-in advising, and that's where you would look there. I'm going to show you a couple different pathways. So I'm going to back up a couple steps here. So back here, instead of making any appointment with my assigned advisor, there are multiple other options. There's supplemental advising if you want to meet with a pre-med and health science advisor. If you're an honors student and you want to make an appointment with an honors advisor, you would click there. And then go to honors. And then one location for the honors college. And then there are multiple advisors there. So then you can click in here and you can see that there is availability with all 3 of those honors advisors. I'm not sure which appointments these are, but it doesn't matter. You just want to meet with somebody from honors. And they have, so I'm going to click tomorrow afternoon. There's multiple appointments. I'm going to make a 1:30 appointment, and I'm going to go to the next. And here I see that my 1:30 appointment is with Andra Freeman from the Honors College. It's a virtual appointment at 1:30. And I want to draw your attention to this additional details. Your advisor might put a web link in there, a URL for you to copy and paste to read a little bit more about what they want you to know about virtual advising for that department, or a phone number. And then this information will also be provided in your reminder email so that you know what that URL or phone number is in case you need to use it. This box is for you, comments for your staff. This is where you could type in something you want your advisor to know. Why you're coming in. I want to talk about last semester's courses or grades. I want to talk about this coming semester. I want to talk about strategies to raise my GPA. I want to talk about what kind of volunteer work I should be doing. I want to talk about who should write my letters of recommendation for med school. Whatever you want your advisor to know, you would put in this box, and then she will be able to see that information. So at this point, I can click confirm appointment. And I can see that my appointment is confirmed here, and I have that access to that phone number again. Now, when I go back to my home page, this little house icon here at the left, I can see that I have an honors appointment with Andra Freeman tomorrow at 1:30. Okay, and so I can see my upcoming appointments. If I want to see my calendar, there's a calendar icon here on the left, and there's also a tab. It goes to the exact same page. So I'm going to click on my calendar tab here. We're in August, so I'm going to go over to September. There's more information. So here is where I can see that all of my classes that I have that are synchronous, my chemistry class, my genetics class, are all in here. So I can see when I have, days and times of the week that I have obligations. And then here on tomorrow at 1:30, I can see with this red banner here, I can see my 1:30 honors appointment. And then I did cancel that pre-med appointment with Laura on the 9th. So that is still listed here as a canceled appointment. So if I want to cancel that appointment with Andra for tomorrow, I just have to click in here and I can cancel my appointment. You will have the option of canceling appointments when you get your reminder. So let's say you get your reminder email and you get it on your phone, you will be able to go in and let's say you know that there's a conflict, you won't be able to have that appointment, you will be able to cancel. So that's just one other point. I just want to encourage you to make sure that you do cancel appointments if you know for sure you need to, so that another student can use that time slot and make an appointment. When you go to cancel, it will give you some reasons you can choose from, like scheduling conflict, illness, family emergency. You can even put some notes. So if I want Andra to know that I'm sorry, I have to cancel, I'm going to reschedule soon, you can type some notes in there and she will get that information. And then I can mark it as cancel. You'll see this yellow bar and it will tell me in red that my appointment is canceled due to a family emergency, and I can close this out. And then you will see here, it is no longer red, it is gray, it is a canceled honors appointment, and you'll be able to see that. So I just wanted to, I'm going to go back to the class information page here. I just wanted to show you all the kind of the basic aspects of your AdvisingWorks homepage about making appointments, about seeing your appointments, canceling them if you need to, about seeing your details of your schedule here, where you can find your academic advisor information and your information on your fall 20 classes, and you can see your calendar here as well. Are there any questions for me in the chat at this point?
No, there's no questions.
No questions. Okay, well, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'll be here for the rest of the hour. If you think of anything, if you want me to clarify anything, I'm happy to. But I'm going to turn it over to Nathan at this point for him to talk about other technologies.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Kate. So yeah, we can go ahead and get started to talk about. So we're going to talk about a few different things here. I'm going to kind of bring the perspective from computing and information technology. So in case you haven't heard of computing and information technology, it's the central IT authority here at Wayne State. So we make sure to support the technology that you need every day to do the work that you need to do for both of our employees, our faculty, and also our students. We, especially in these times, we support almost all of the applications that you're going to use on campus. So things like Academica and Canvas, which I'll talk about in a little while, AdvisingWorks, which Kate just ran through with you. We take care of the networks, so things like Wi-Fi and connectivity. We protect your data. So I'll talk a little bit about your access ID and password and how that works and how we secure that. And then we also provide technical help and support. I'll bring that perspective by talking about the help desk and how you can get support when you need it as a student. So our home on the web is tech.wayne.edu. This is a great place to go if you need resources, if you need to find out about technology at Wayne State. We recommend starting here. You can use the search bar to find support articles, access to support staff and things like that. Probably the main resource you'll want to be aware of is the help desk, which you can get to from here as well. So if you click on help on this page and then CNIT help desk, that's going to take you to the main help desk page with all of their information and ways to contact them. And one of the big things they can do for you is reset your Access ID password. We're going to talk in depth a little bit more about the Access ID very soon. So the help desk, there's a little bit more information about it here. They have a lot of hours of availability. They start at 7:30 a.m. and they go to 8 p.m. You can contact them by phone or email. In normal times, we would be able to meet them in person as well. They would do support in person, but we're not doing that right now just due to the current conditions. So you'll have to reach out to them by phone or email. And you can see their information there. You can call 577-4357. That's the same as 577-HELP. And then also helpdesk@wayne.edu. As a student, this is going to be your primary support contact. You're going to want to start here for issues with your email, with Canvas, with Academica, with your account, various different issues. You're going to want to start there, and then they'll help escalate your issues to other areas if need be, like perhaps to my team, who mainly deals with Canvas and Zoom. But this is always going to be the best place for you to start to get that support. So, and I mentioned this earlier, but I want to talk in depth about your Access ID. Many of you are likely already familiar with it. You're likely using it already and you're signing in and using your password. For those of you who are less familiar, the Access ID is your online passport. It's your username. The Access ID itself is 2 letters and 4 numbers. It's a common format for everybody. So like AB1234 is an example. So that you don't really have to worry about keeping secret. People can see it in the directory and it's tied to you pretty publicly. So you don't have to worry about keeping your Access ID separate, secret. But your password should always be secret. You should never tell it to anyone. You should never share your password for any reason. That includes with support personnel like myself. If someone from the help desk is never going to ask you for your password, so that's not something you need to share with them. And your advisors or faculty are also never going to need that password either. So please just remember to keep that in mind. We do get sometimes email phishing attempts where people will try to get your Access ID and password. So just make sure that you're aware of that and just don't share it with anybody. Keep it a secret. And if you forget that password, again, like I said before, you can go to tech.wayne.edu, click on the help desk link, and then from there you'll be able to reset your password and regain access to your account. So Academica, this is something that you actually saw earlier in Kate's presentation. And essentially this is our sign-on portal. So when you first sign on with your Access ID, you're going to be in Academica. That's our primary application that we use for accessing all of the various tools and resources on campus. It also has a social media type component to it, so you can keep in contact with people, and there are messages and notices that go up on Academica that you're going to want to be aware of. Especially if you're looking for a campus job or maybe looking for more courses to take. There's a lot of great announcements that show up on Academica, and I'll show you really what that looks like just in just a moment here. So this is the main Academica screen. I'm going to call out a few of the different areas that are available on here. So you'll see in the area that's highlighted with a 1, that is the resources. So when you get into Academica and you look at the resources, as you can see, AdvisingWorks is on that list, like Kate showed you earlier, but there's a lot of other things you'll need to know about as well. So for instance, your financial aid, registering for classes, even things like Canvas, those are all available inside of that student resources area. We definitely recommend that you become very familiar with the resources area. There's a lot of things that you can access here, and this is going to be where we add new tools and things like that as they become available. So make sure you're familiar with that. The second area I want to call out is highlighted with a 2. It's kind of at the top of my screen here. So when you're looking at this, you're going to see 3 different links immediately to the side of that. I'll call out each of those and let you know what they do. So the first one that's all the way to the left there, right where the 2 is kind of pointing, is the daily health screener. So if you're coming to campus, you're going to need to fill out this form. This is just going to help us kind of keep track in case you're displaying symptoms and things like that. This is something that's required if you're going to be on campus, so please make yourself aware and familiar with the Campus Daily Health Screener. The next one over that's kind of shaped like a circle, almost like a flower petal, That is the Canvas icon. We'll talk about Canvas a little bit more in a minute, but you will definitely be accessing that a lot during your time at Wayne State. That's our learning management system. And the next one over is your email link. So if you click on that, that will take you to your Wayne State email inbox. We have Office 365 through Microsoft, so you also get a free version of Microsoft Office if you'd like, and then you can download that from there as well. And then a little further down, there's one almost all the way to the right there that's kind of shaped like a little person. If you click on that, that's where you can change your account settings and upload an avatar image and things like that. So if you need to make any changes in your account or your profile, that's where you're going to want to go. And then finally, the third thing I want to call out is highlighted in 3 right there in the middle of the page, and that is the what we call streams. So there are posts and various streams that happen inside of Academica. These could be targeted to you because of your major or maybe because of how far you are in your degree. These are very much like social media posts where you can like them and comment on them, and they'll show up in this feed based on what streams you have access to. So I definitely recommend keeping an eye on these postings, especially if you're looking for like a student job. It's a great place to for these to be posted. And there's lots of great opportunities like game nights and things like that that get posted in the Academica, the social stream, which is what we sometimes refer to it as. So now that you've gone through Academica, you've kind of seen that, been familiar with that. The next system you're going to be spending a lot of time with is Canvas. And Canvas is our learning management system. So for those of you who haven't used one of those or haven't heard of that, a learning management system is just a computer system that can house things like assignments and quizzes that your teacher can upload for you to take. And they'll configure your course in the way that they need to for their course materials. And then you'll be able to access those and submit assignments, view lectures, various different activities from in there. 94% of our teachers use it, so you will pretty much none of you are going to get out of Wayne State without having some time spent in Canvas, so you're going to have to become familiar with it. To get access to it, you're going to want to go to canvas.wayne.edu, and then from there, what you're going to do is actually go to, you'll go to canvas.wayne.edu, you'll log in with your Access ID and password, and then you'll have access direct to Canvas. You can also take that Academica link. They go to the same place, so that's not going to be an issue. You'll be able to log in from either area. And if you use your phone a lot, and if you're planning on using it for your courses, we really recommend the Canvas mobile app. This is something that you can download from the App Store. You can set up notifications, and there's a lot of great features inside of it. I'll touch a little bit on the app and the notifications as we move a little further on in the presentation. So when you're in Canvas, and I'll show you this on the next slide as well, you'll have the help menu, which is going to be kind of in the bottom left of your menu on the left side of the screen. You've got several options available to you. The first one in this list here is the Introduction to Canvas course. This is a great resource that you can use to learn how to use Canvas. So if you haven't used Canvas and you need some practice with it, definitely go through this course. It's totally self-paced. There's no official grades with it or anything, so you can consider it kind of like a practice or a training course. It's not connected to your academic record in any way. So you can go through that. Your teachers may actually assign you that course. It'll be on your dashboard automatically. So once you get there, and you'll see it there as long as you're a registered student. The rest of the options here are all under the help menu. The student links and downloads is where you're going to get access to things like the lockdown browser, which is something I'll talk to you a little bit about later. The student support links, this is going to link you to the help desk in case you need to get to it from Canvas. The Canvas guides are a resource that's really great for essentially having a guide to take you through various activities in Canvas, like submitting assignments and things like that. The great thing about the Canvas guides is that they are always available. You don't need to rely on anyone to provide them to you. That's just a database you can search on your own. And then that last one there, you'll very likely use a lot, is the Ask Your Instructor button. And this is a way to send a question directly to your instructor. They'll be able to respond to it directly in Canvas, and then you can get your questions answered that way. So it kind of brings me to my next point, which is really when to contact your teacher and when to contact support based on an issue that you're experiencing. So first I'll talk about the instructor aspect. Essentially the best way to think about this is that if the question has to do with the course content or your grade or something that is graded, that's really going to come down to the teacher. You know, if you need an extension on a due date, or if you have a question about when or how something is going to be turned in, these are the kind of questions you're going to want to ask your teacher. And again, you can go to help, ask your teacher to get to them. One thing to point out is that the tech support personnel like myself, we have limited capability to make any changes in a course because the teacher is really the one in charge of that course. We can't really make decisions for them. So if it's something with your grade or a due date or something like that, unfortunately, we're not in a position to be able to change those or alter those. So you're going to want to make sure you reach out to your instructor. And another question here we get a lot of is my course published? And what that means from your perspective as a student is that if the course is not yet published, that means you can't see it yet. So once the teacher publishes the course, you'll be able to have access to it. So you can always check the status of your courses by clicking on the courses button to the left side on your course menu or on your global menu. And then you can go to all courses and it'll tell you exactly what's going on, whether your courses are published or not. Just remember, if they're not published yet, that just means you won't be able to see them. The instructor is going to have to open those up for you and publish them for you to be able to see that. And sort of the opposite side of that, when would you contact support? So there's, you know, while there's some things that support can't help you with and your teacher has to help you with, the opposite is true as well. So if you're seeing an error message or there's maybe issues with your account or you can't log in, those are the kind of things that tech support is more suited to be able to help you out with. So definitely reach out to us if you're having any of these issues. Again, just make sure it's not related to like the grades or anything like that, because we have limited capacity to be able to change those. So now that we've kind of covered that a little bit, I want to talk about some of the features inside of Canvas and some of the other tools available to you. So the first thing I want to talk about is the dashboard. So if you've logged into Canvas already, you've seen the dashboard. It's the first page that you see. It shows your courses as cards that you can access, and you can click on them and get into those courses. You can also choose to view all of your courses, because the dashboard is just a subset of your courses. It's not going to show all of them all at once. So make sure that you are aware that you can go to courses and all courses to see all of them. From there, you can actually decide which courses show up on your dashboard. Think of your dashboard as kind of like your favorite courses or your hearted courses, so to speak. Those will show up on the dashboard. And I'm going to show you a screenshot in a minute that's going to illustrate all of these. Finally, the to do and coming up area, which shows up in Canvas as well. This is just going to show you the assignments that are coming up and sort of the tasks that you're going to need to be aware of as you move throughout that. So this is the screenshot that I was referencing. So on the left-hand side there, that's your global navigation menu. You're going to get to things like your notification preferences, things like the help menu at the bottom there, the courses menu. Those are all available on that left-hand sidebar there. And it's always going to be there. So no matter what, if you're in Canvas, you will have access to those options, and that menu will always appear. So the area I want to call out next is highlighted with a 2. That's the Introduction to Canvas course, which I talked about a little earlier. This is a resource you can use to sort of at your own pace learn how to use Canvas. We definitely recommend spending some time with this course. Again, your teacher may assign this to you to actually complete. They can verify if you've completed it or not. And you'll just access this by clicking on the title there and just go completely through the course. It's a great practice. There's no connection to your grades, so you don't got to worry about. You can use it as sort of like a practice to get used to working inside of Canvas. And then finally, in the area highlighted with a 3, that is the to-do area. This is going to show your assignments and things that are coming up. You'll use this to make sure that you're aware of your deadlines, your due dates as things are coming up and they need to be turned in. You'll see it has the date available there that you can see. So just from there, you're going to want to actually check and make sure that you're on task and that you're completing everything as it comes through. So the next thing I want to talk about is notifications. So in the notifications area, you'll get there from account and notifications. So I'm going to go back to that previous screenshot, and you'll see account is kind of in the top left there. So from here, you're going to want to click on that, and then notifications is the next option. Once you do that, you'll get to a notification page, and I'll show you sort of a more detailed version of that in a moment. And you'll see from here, you can decide what notifications you want to receive from Canvas. So this just means as things happen in Canvas, Canvas is going to tell you about them. It's going to keep you informed about the things that are happening in your course, whether that means due dates are changing, whether that means new assignments are created, or there's a new discussion post. There's several different options available to you. We highly recommend that you enable these notifications and that you take a look at this page and set it up. This is going to be really sort of personalized to you in the way that you work. So you'll want to decide how you want to get those notifications. And then again, I'll show you a little bit more on the next page, but I do want to recommend also downloading the mobile app, because that will actually give you more options on the notifications area. So this is kind of a more in-depth view of what that page will look like after you click on account and then notifications. You'll see right there at the top highlighted in 1 is the key, so you know what all of those different icons do in the different notification options. And then the area in 2 is actually how you determine you're going to be notified based on different categories inside of Canvas. So you can see that first one I'm using as an example is a due date. So based on those settings, I would get an email and a push notification right away if the due date in my course changed. So you have this flexibility, you have these exact same options in your page. So go ahead and log on and check that out. We highly recommend that everybody spend some time looking at their notifications and actually setting that up so that it works well for you. So the next thing I want to talk about is also inside of Canvas. So this is submitting assignments. This is something that all of you will have to do. This is a very, very common thing that we use Canvas for. I won't be able to touch on everything, every possible variable here, but I'll kind of talk about the most common arrangement, which is where your teacher asks you to submit a file as the response to an assignment. So really the way that this works is the teacher will post the directions in Canvas. They'll create an assignment in Canvas, which will then prompt you to either upload a file or a document, maybe even a video. And the teacher can decide what types of files you can upload. So keep in mind that if your teacher says it has to be a PDF, they can actually lock that and make it so that you have to provide a PDF. So make sure you're reading those directions, make sure you're familiar with exactly what your professor is asking for, and then you'll be able to submit that for your assignment. And this last part is something that I want to make sure you're all aware of. This might be something that you have not run into in the past. And this is that we can scan for plagiarism on your assignments at Wayne State. So what that means is when you submit your assignment, it will go through a system that compares it to other documents on the web, on the internet, and also other assignments that were provided to Wayne State previously. So please keep in mind, it will show your instructor those results, so it will let them know if it found any matches for content that lives somewhere else. So just please keep that in mind. Plagiarism is a very serious issue. It's not something you want to play around with. It's not something you want to take the risk on. So just please make sure that you're aware that that is an option that our instructors have here at Wayne State. These next few screenshots will show you a little bit more about that submitting assignment process. So you can see here, if we click on the number 1 icon that I have highlighted there, it says resubmit assignment. If we hadn't submitted yet, this would just say submit assignment, but I wanted to make sure that you were able to see what it looks like when you've submitted, that there's kind of proof that you've submitted. You can see in the area highlighted in 2 there, it says submitted, it tells you the time, it even has your submission details. You're gonna wanna make sure that you verify this, especially if you are coming up close to the deadline. If your assignment's due in less than an hour, I would make sure after I submit the assignment, I would make sure that when I go here to the submission, that it actually records that I submitted that. Just make sure that that's there. Your teacher doesn't want to get an email from you 5 minutes after the due date saying I wasn't able to submit the assignment. You're definitely going to want to get that in on time. And if you've already submitted, you'll be able to just verify that it's actually there. And this is kind of the next page after you get ready to submit an assignment. So you're going to see this right after you click on submit assignment. And I'll walk you through this one as well. So the area highlighted with the 1, This is the due date and description information for the assignment. So this might be various things that your instructor wants to provide. It could be the directions. It could be the formats you need to provide. There's lots of different information that could show up here, but this is where you kind of determine what you actually need to turn in. The area highlighted with a 2 is actually where you'll attach the assignment. So many of you are likely used to this if you've been emailing people or sending files in any other website. You'll click browse, you'll find the file on your computer, and then you'll click OK, and then that will get added to this assignment. So that's pretty straightforward. You can also do a Google Doc or an Office 365. If you want to store things in your Wayne State account, we provide an Office 365 account for you. So you'll be able to do that. The last thing I want to call out is in the number 3 here at the bottom. This is the indicator if your assignment is being scanned for plagiarism. So you will see this on your assignments if your instructor has enabled this feature. And this is how you know if they're scanning for plagiarism. Again, please be very, very careful with this. Make sure you're creating original work. This is a very sophisticated system, and it will, if you copied something off the web or anything like that, this is going to find it. And your teacher will have access to that data. So please make sure that you're aware of this. It's gonna provide this to you if that's the case. And then finally, you just want to make sure you actually click on Submit Assignment. We've certainly seen that happen where students get all the way to the end and they forget to submit. Just make sure you're doing that. You don't want to have an extra reason to email your instructor to ask for more time or anything like that, especially if you've actually completed the assignment. So the next piece, it's kind of similar. It's going to exist really mostly in Canvas as well, and that is the lockdown browser. So the lockdown browser might be required by your course, and this is a special browser that when you log into it and use it, it restricts your computer to a single application. And in this case, it's really going to restrict you to just logging into Canvas. You're going to need a PC or a Mac for this, so you won't be able to do this on a Chromebook or a phone or a mobile device. There is some support coming for those eventually, but you're not going to be able to do that right now. It may also require a webcam. So while the teacher can lock you into the browser, they can also require that you have a webcam active, kind of like I have active now, and that is available, and that they can review that video to make sure that you didn't have extra people in the room and things like that. So if this is the case, we definitely recommend practicing with this and making sure it's working correctly. So this is really something that your teacher will be able to provide a practice exam for you, and you'll be able to access that inside your course, and then just make sure that your computer is set up correctly. You really don't want to be trying this out within the hours before your exam. Could lead to more anxiety, especially if you're experiencing a technical problem. Again, if you're having problems with this though, you can call the help desk while you're working with this system. And you can always download the lockdown browser from the help link inside of Canvas. And Zoom is another system that you'll have access to. Obviously, we're using it right now. You'll see it inside your Canvas courses under Zoom in the course menu there. I've got it highlighted with a 1. Your teacher can use this to set up meetings for your course if you have a synchronous course. So really, once you click on Zoom in the course menu there, the main thing you got to worry about is just clicking that join button that's on the right-hand side there, and it's highlighted with a 2. And then once you join the meeting, it's going to be just like what you're doing here. You'll be participating, speaking with your instructor. They may be lecturing. It'll really depend on your course. And then when you're done with that meeting, when you've met with your class already, you can then review recordings if your instructor has enabled them by clicking on that area highlighted in the 3 where it says Cloud Recordings. And you can do all of this from right inside of Canvas. So right from there, you'll be able to click on the recordings. Another thing too is that you have access to a full Zoom account. As a Wayne State student, you can log in at wayne-edu.zoom.us, use your access ID to sign in, and then you'll be able to actually host your own meetings, send out your own links. You can use that for group work. You can use that for meeting with student organizations or other people on campus that you need to meet with. So just keep that in mind. You have full access to a Zoom account. You just need to log into it.